now. I am the community leader for the Generate group. And if you're seeing this, if you're watching this, that means you're in the Generate group. And that means we kind of love you. And hopefully you love us. And you should add some more friends to the Generate group, because this is like our energy. I'm actually making sure we're going live here on Facebook, if you see me looking over here. Yeah, this is like this exchange of value, right? Like, I want to give as much value and information to you guys for free with no ulterior motive, just because I want to do my little part to get the economy back up and running. And I know my guest, Amber, who is a small business owner, feels exactly the same way. So here's what I know about Amber. Amber used to sell knives like a lot of my friends. She is an awesome wife, awesome mother, runs a super successful online small business. I think you've got about a half dozen employees right now. And somehow magically in this time of COVID, like, you guys are actually not only thriving or surviving, but you're also thriving, like legit crushing it right now, busier than you've ever been. And our people that need to sell stuff for a living or run their own business, they need to know why, because in this time of COVID, not a lot of industries are thriving and crushing, and you guys are crushing. So what did I miss in the introduction? And what do we need to talk about today in order to thrive and survive?
Yeah, I think that covers the gist of it. So we can always weave other stories in if it makes sense. You can also go to my website at ambervilhauer.com, Google me, check me out on YouTube. I've got hundreds of videos there. Like, I'm all over the place if you want to know more information.
P.S. Totally fell in love with you and your business via YouTube before we even ever got introduced. So like, your YouTube channel works. And it's not all fluff where you're trying to get people to sign up. Like, you actually give out good, actionable ideas on your YouTube channel. So please, guys, go find Amber. NG is the name of her company. Find it on YouTube and subscribe, because I've gotten a bunch of like time-saving hacks and whatnot just off her YouTube channel. So sorry, I couldn't let that one pass.
No, actually, it's a perfect lead-in, because what I've been preaching about for so long is that in a digital environment, and those of you who weren't going digital before, you didn't know a lot about the internet, don't have like internet marketing experience, like, now's the time to go online and position yourself and get market share and plant your flag in the ground and start taking what could be yours in terms of getting exposure for your message, whatever that is. Like, whatever you want to take a stand for in your business, doesn't matter what your product is, what your service is, what kind of business owner you are, take a stand for something and then start talking about it. Now, in a digital landscape, it's very different, of course, right? Because we're talking into webcams and it's like we're looking at screens all day. It's very different. There's a heavier lift to build relationships as opposed to being in person. The best way to develop personal connection in a digital landscape is by using video and also live streaming. So I've been talking about this stuff for years, you guys. And so therefore, if you go to my YouTube channel, you're going to see hundreds of videos. Now, I believe the best part of video is that you get to just be yourself. And that's the key. I don't want you to be somebody that you're not. Like, oh my God, I'm being recorded, so I got to be like professional Amber. Like, forget that. You've got to just be you. And that's one of the things that I love the most about Scott. Truly, mad respect for this guy, because what you see is what you get. And I respect that in people. When you go to hire Scott, he's going to bring that same energy and intensity into that, closing that deal, getting you the best advice or the best deal that he possibly can. And that's what your YouTube channel can do for the clients that you're trying to attract in. The more you're yourself, give that value. People are making buying decisions right now based on transparency and intuition. So if they're looking at Scott's video, they're trying to measure him up, say, do I trust this guy? Do I like this guy? And the more you are authentically yourself, the more consistent you are in getting that content out there through video and live streaming, you're going to start attracting in your dream clients. It's just how the internet works. There's no magic, trickery beyond that. It's just putting content out there that's of value, making the personal connection by being yourself, and then letting those people come back in. And that's what you need to be focused on right now.
Okay, so let's give Scott Grove some real-time coaching on where I have this conflict, because I think this happens for a lot of people. Like, I legitimately, and you know this because you've helped me build this group and we've had a lot of conversations, I legitimately built this group solely for the purpose of like, I want to help people, right? Like that's the authentic Scott. I'm going to cuss a little bit too often. I'm going to say some stuff that's probably inappropriate. And that's the authentic me when I'm trying to help people. What I also know that I need to do is ask for people to, hey, like this video, leave a comment, invite your friends to this group. That doesn't feel natural to me because on video, it feels a little salesy. So give me some coaching on merging, like, this is the authentic me. I want to help people, but I'm also not running a nonprofit. Like I want people to join a group or buy a product, or, when I'm talking about mortgage on my personal page, or I'm talking about the coaching program I run, like I want to authentically give out a lot. And one of my former business partners calls me an intellectual philanthropist. He's like, dude, you give out too much stuff for free. Like you got to reel it in a little bit, maybe be a little bit more salesy. So I'm trying to like
hogwash.
Hogwash. Okay, cool. So give out more for free. So I'm just trying to be congruent in this idea of like, this is me, but there's also certain tactical things we have to do, like stop in the middle of the video and ask people to leave a comment, start a watch party, tag somebody that needs to see this information. But there's like this conflict in me. It's like, well, if I stop and I ask for these things, then am I really being authentically me? And am I really having a great conversation with Amber? So how do I get over that? How do I reconcile that? Like, how do people figure this out? Because I'm struggling. I'm going to be honest.
This is another thing I love about you. Thank you for being so honest and transparent. These are the real questions that everybody is asking themselves internally, but are too scared to ask it out loud. So thank you for pointing out how we all feel. And dude, I hear you. I am like the least pressure salesperson that ever existed on planet Earth. Like I do not. If anything, I'm like, I don't even ask for the sale. That's how much I don't like to do that. So one of the things that I do to get around it is, first of all, by giving just nonstop value, like just showing you my value. I don't have to tell you, I'll show you, I'll prove it to you. And then you can make your own decision after that. I don't have to then, feel like I have to ask for something at that point. Either you see the value and you want it or you don't, right? Either way, it's okay. But if you don't want whatever I have to offer at the time, then I know you're still going to tell people about me because of the impression that I gave to you, right? So really, Scott, all you have to be focused on is giving the impression that makes you feel proud about what you just did, whether it's a video, you were speaking, whether it was a sales call. As long as you know that you showed up, that's number one. Number two, it is important, especially in a live streaming format like this, that you're guiding your viewers on what they can be doing because they don't know, right? And live streaming is still such a new concept that, we almost have to condition viewers a little bit on how to behave or like what to do or how to engage and interact and support us. The other thing that I want to mention is that when you're in this environment of needing to ask people to help you, I just try to remember my why. That's what works for me. Like if you're really trying to lead right now, well, why? Like, why are you trying to lead? And when you think like, well, I'm pissed off about the state of the economy, of course. Well, okay, so what? You're pissed off. Well, I want to do my part to try to change the economy. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Like really tap into why you even give a shit about this. Like, why are you pushing away other business activities and carving space for this? And the more you go into the deepest layers of why you're doing this, first of all, the answer might surprise you. It might not be what you think it is. But then that gives you the reason why you can like almost overcome asking people to start a watch party, because it's not like, oh, hey, start a watch party and help me out. It becomes like, guys, here's the thing. If you don't start a watch party, there's going to be people out there that are going to lose their homes. They're going to get divorced. These kids are going to grow up with parents that are separated. Like really look at what could happen if Scott Groves does not step up and lead and help people with mindset and rebuilding their business, reinventing themselves, overcoming the grief of every business plan or idea that they just lost as a result of COVID ripping the rug out beneath all of us. Like, Yes, you need to start a watch party right now because we have work to do and we need to do it together. We're a community. I can't do this alone and you can't do it alone as a viewer either. So you need me as much as I need you right now. We're in it together. Click that button and start a watch party for me, right? And when you have that kind of like passion, people are like, oh my God, I have a responsibility to start a watch party right now. They do that. Friends get notified, more people come in, they're experiencing your value. And you know what? They're so grateful. They want to co-create this with you. But until you can tap into that deepest part of your why, it is going to feel a little salesy.
Yeah, I need to rewatch this video before every event, right? It's like I know somebody's out there just being like, oh, well, Scott's doing this to sell his book. And it's like,
good, sell that book. Help us get the economy back.
I don't care. I'll give it away for free. I make $4. I think I make $3.80 when I sell one of these books on Amazon. If I sold hundreds of these, yeah, you bastard. If I sold hundreds of these books a day, it would not make up for the time that I'm giving away to this venture where I could just go get another loan or go get another coaching client or spend time with my kids. Like I genuinely value. It's funny when you take those values tests. I used to think I valued money and things, but when I take like one of those deep, 3-hour Myers-Briggs with a psychologist, which I've done, they're like, oh no, actually your highest value set is political, meaning you value being valued. And so if I never sold a copy of this book and I just gave it away to everybody for free, but 6 months later, somebody called me or emailed me and is like, hey man, you changed my life. Like because I was able to lead generate, I was able to keep my yoga studio open. Like that is to me the deepest sense of satisfaction where it's like, I value being valued. I don't know. I probably wasn't hugged enough as a kid or something. We go into some deep-seated psychological issues. But
if you tap into that, but you have to ask for support, because if you don't ask for support, it's going to take you a lot longer to achieve the kind of results that you want. So you're doing it to benefit others. And you know what? If somebody's like, well, you're just trying to push your books. Okay, not your crowd. Doesn't matter what they have to think. Like you are showing up, giving insane value every single day. And if somebody doesn't get that, that's their own stuff they're trying to work through. That's it. And you don't even have to spend time worrying about what other people think, because at the end of the day, you can go to bed feeling like I went all out today. I did everything that I could to help other people. As a byproduct, of course, you're going to help yourself. And you know what? That's the exchange too. It's not like you're the only one, right? Like that's the way the whole world works. And anybody else that's not getting that kind of result is probably secretly jealous, wishing that they had the courage that you had to ask for the things that they don't know how to ask for yet. But you got to ask, people. And last thing I'll say, I'm on my preacher box here. Go read Bob Burg's book, The Go-Giver. And that's going to resolve it for you completely.
Yeah, totally agree. Great book. So let's drill down into your business. Like what services do you offer? Like I would kind of, and you can talk about this, I would kind of consider your services more of a premium service, more of a, in what a lot of people would think in their mind is like an add-on or an upgrade. And right now in a time of pandemic and COVID-19 and people pulling back and dropping budgets and cutting salaries, frankly, I would think your business would be suffering at a very large scale. And instead, you guys are bursting at the seams. So why don't you tell everybody quickly kind of what you do and then why that's become so important to people and why you guys are thriving.
Do 4 different things. Number 1, we build websites. I've launched nearly 1,000 over the past 13 years that we've been in business. Number 2 is we do book launches. So I've launched about 35 books, made them all #1 bestsellers. We also do a lot in terms of content marketing, and we actually will train your team how to do all of your marketing for you, which is going to help save you budget. It's going to help save you time, give you control back. So that's our flagship product called Leverage to Scale. So there's like a free demo for it online. And the 4th thing that we do is live streaming. which is our newest division. And it just came out of like, I was working on a book launch last summer for Mike Michalowicz. He recently launched Fix This Next. And I thought, what if we could get the book launch to go viral? What if we use live streaming to do it? So I spent 10 months deeply immersing myself in live streaming and tweaking and refining and optimizing and repurposing and figuring out how to make this thing go viral. And when COVID hit, we did experience a 2-week pause, which I was uncomfortable about. Like 2 weeks of nobody asking for a pricing menu, nobody wanting a sales call. I had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of proposals that were out for different projects, all stopped like that. And I'm thinking, okay, what's going to happen? Well, instead of sitting in stress and fear and worry and all the stuff that a lot of people did, I thought, you know what? I need to lead right now. If nothing else, to save my own sanity, keep me distracted. And so what I did is I decided to go live. And for 2 weeks, I interviewed 40 different speakers, just friends that I knew. And I would go live on multiple different channels, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, you name it. And what I would do is I would interview my friends, all under the idea to just help people understand how to navigate this time, both mentally and professionally. I asked people to donate to COVID in exchange of like COVID relief organizations, in exchange of value. That was it. I don't think one time I asked people to join my email list, check out my services. It was like strict value and giving. And out of that, seriously, Scott, I didn't even have a plan for this. It was like, I just want to help people. But out of that 2-week period, our reach grew by more than 4,000%. Like, boom, kind of exposure in the marketplace. A lot of people were paying attention to what we were doing. And then out of that, I got 16 different speaking engagement requests. So speak to my mastermind, my small group, come in for this, that, and the other thing. So, okay, I started doing that. Out of that, people were just mind blown about what I was able to accomplish in 2 weeks with live streaming. Then other people are like, well, how did you do that? Could you do that for me? I need a website. I need marketing help. I need a book launch help. I want to go live. I want to get market share. I need to save my business right now. And I'm saying, like, I'm telling you, live streaming is the way to do it. Boom, set up a division for live streaming. And I mean, it's just been explosive growth and it's been amazing. I have the team in place. I have the systems in place. So we're, providing a great customer experience, but all divisions now are just moving forward and excelling. And I think it's a result of value first. You're giving, you're giving, you're giving, you're showing up, you're showing up. You don't know where it's going. You just keep going, keep trusting. And when people see you leading in that way, they want to be a part of it, and they want a part of it for themselves too, because they have communities to lead as well. And it's a ripple effect that you have in the world, and it's a beautiful thing.
And I want to ask, what is it unique about you, or a conversation you had with your husband, or, you went on a run and meditated? What happened between that 2 weeks of like, oh, I'm a little fearful, like I'm a little scared. We talked during that time, and I could see it on your face. Like, you employ, people who are feeding their family and paying their bills based on your productivity and your sales ability. What shifted between that 2 weeks and like, okay, cool, now that's going to be behind me, and now we're going to try something else and we're going to pivot? Because I think my concern is a lot of business owners right now are a third month into this concern, and they haven't realized, like, hey, this is going to pivot. We interviewed Dave Savage yesterday, who runs a extremely successful technology company. And he's like, oh, any of you that are waiting around, your business is already dead, because this is the new normal for the next 12 to 18 months. Like, whether or not you can go back to a grocery store or a restaurant or a bar or Vegas or whatever, like, this is the new way of doing business for the foreseeable future, or maybe forever. So if you haven't pivoted, if you haven't got over that 2-week pity party, like, you're fucked. You're in bad shape, and you've got to pivot right now. So what for you was the mindset change? Was the kick in the behind? And I know you're not a fan of the F word, so I apologize. But
I
I just,
totally say that in my personal life. I just don't say it in my professional life.
I'm sorry, I say it on my live stream, and it's probably turned some people off. So I apologize to the ladies watching. But what was that pivot for you? What was the kick in the behind? Because there's somebody watching this right now, or I want you to tag somebody if you're watching this who needs to hear this, that they need to pivot and they need that kick in the behind. So what was it for you, Amber?
In all honesty, which I always am, but the past 2 whatever months it's been now have been like outrageously stretching for me. Like, I might look like, oh, she's so bubbly and looks like she's in control. I can't relate to her at all because my life is really hard right now. My life is effing hard right now. It's exhausting every single day. But I do have a strength in me, Scott, that like, I will not quit. I will show up every single day and I will put 1,000% of my potential on the line. And I don't know if it's going to work. But my past tells me, history, nature, it tells me that the more value that you give, the more focus you put on other people and helping others, it comes back. It does. And it comes back in unexpected ways, but I don't care in what ways it comes back as long as it comes back. Right. So honestly, what I was doing is, number one, I was acknowledging my true feelings. And I'm an emotional person. I'm super sensitive. And so I feel a lot, and in a very tumultuous time that gets exaggerated even more. And it's a daily effort to keep my emotions at bay and to stay focused on taking action and giving, which is exactly what I did. And so the first thing that I did, beyond just like checking myself, is I went out and I immediately took care of my team first. And I said, guys, your jobs are safe. I know who I am. And I'll get scrappy. We're fine. And I let them talk about their emotions. I didn't try to hide anything or cover anything up. I was very honest with them about the struggles that I was having so that they would feel honest with me and we would just have the open conversation. Second thing I did is I went out and I secured my clients, starting with the ones that are paying us the most. And I just cleared my schedule and I was all in to secure our clients. And I went above and beyond, above the scope of whatever they needed. I would open up my network. I would open up my time, my team. I would make sure that they felt supported. And I wanted to make sure that they saw the vision that, like, guys, it is your time right now. This is your time right now. By the way, I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care how big your business is. It is your time. You just first have to be open to seeing the possibility and the opportunity in front of you. So my team is feeling like, okay, I think our jobs are safe. Clients are like, wow, Amber really has my back. Meanwhile, I'm like pedaling, just trying to keep up, because naturally I wanted to just drown in sorrow and fear too, but I wouldn't let myself. There's a discipline and a focus that has to come in first. And so then what I did is a really critical piece is you've got to keep your eyes and your ears open on high alert. Every conversation, every time I'm like, people would tell me about the struggles they're facing, the questions that they're wondering about. And I'm just constantly analyzing, assessing, listening, thinking, what do I do with this information? What do I do with this information? And I would try different things, kind of like taking spaghetti and throwing it at the wall and like, what's going to stick? And it was a lot of that for the first couple of weeks. But then the last thing that comes up, Scott, is I just allowed myself time to rest. Before COVID, I was sleeping 7 hours a night. After COVID, ever since then, I'm sleeping more like 9 hours a night, like insane amounts of sleep. And it still doesn't feel like enough, but I'm listening to my body. I'm taking care of myself the best that I can. When you take care of yourself, especially during a stressful time, then your body is better equipped to do the fighting that needs to get done to get through it. And when you have that kind of energy and creativity flowing through you, that's when all of a sudden the ideas will land. My idea was just to go live with, live streaming basically. But then it was the idea to do a speaking engagement a certain way. And then it was an idea to lead a sales conversation a certain way. And then it was an idea to do this other thing. And it was really a compilation of different conversations, listening, trying, acting, grieving, resting, getting back up, trying again. And then it just worked, so I'm not going to say it was a magic pill, but do the freaking work. Like, this is your future. You have you have a level of influence in your family, in your community. Like, it's time to step up and lead. And Scott is a beautiful example of how you can do that.
So I'm trying to balance two thoughts in my mind, and maybe we can finish on this thought, and then we'll have you on in a couple of weeks for another update. But I love what you said is like, you've got to keep your ears open and listen to the market. You've got to hear, what are people looking for? What are the hot button items? What are the key words in conversations, right? Like, we all now have a new lexicon of verbiage that, like, we didn't even know, 60 days ago, 90 days ago. I didn't know what a pandemic meant. I mean, I could probably define it in some term, but I had no clue. So this idea of keeping your ear open and being present to the market and knowing what the market wants and needs, and then reacting to that, and this is the second thought I'm trying to hold in my mind, while not getting sucked into the news and the negativity and the social media posting. And I don't care where you fall politically, I don't care where you fall on this issue or any other issue, but at the end of the day, there's so much negative news out there, and there's so many, everybody has the crazy aunt that can't stop posting stuff on one side of the spectrum. So how are you protecting the stuff that enters into our mind, into our social media feed, into our life? How are you simultaneously keeping an ear on the market? And I'm not saying bury your head in the sand and don't pay attention to current events, but also just not getting sucked down by that negativity. Because I think that's some of the difficulty of people that are doing market research, or I'll call it playing on Facebook, that you can get sucked down into a path real fast and real dangerously. So how are you balancing that? Listening to the market, but not getting sucked into the negativity. And then maybe we'll end on that.
Such a good question. So what I do is every morning I read an email that's like current events, news stuff, but I balance between two. There's morning brew and the skim. And they're not like, oh, doomsday, the world is so over, so I'm careful about where I get my news. Otherwise, I never turn on the news ever. I mean, the only thing I'm going to hear outside of just the highlights in those two emails is something my husband will tell me. And as a firefighter, like, he knows stuff. So, being on the front lines, but he's very careful about what he tells me. My whole world knows, like, be careful about what you're telling me. We need to protect my energy and my attitude, because I have a lot of responsibility and I need to stay focused and strong in order to give to everybody on the level that I do. So part of it's just conditioning the people around you to be careful. I would say, though, that the other thing is I skim Facebook, hardly on it. Don't go down rabbit holes. If I do a quick scan, come across something that I'm in tune with my feelings, if it feels like I'm going to start to veer into a direction that I don't want to go down, I immediately close the app, move on, check out music. I get my mind off of it and I stay focused. I think the listening has to happen in sales conversations. And if you're not on a sales call past clients, call past prospects, call colleagues, ask those people, like, so what's going on? What ideas do you have right now? What are you experiencing? What are you feeling? Not the doomsday stuff. I want to know what people are doing to be proactive right now. Those are the conversations that I'm having, and that's where the gold is. So go back and talk to your clients, prospects from a year ago. I don't care. Talk to colleagues in your industry, related industries. Just start sharing information, high-level ideas that are proactive. I guarantee within a week, but you'll know your path and you'll be able to start moving forward. And the last thing I'll say is that everybody listening, you and I included, we have a responsibility right now to expect a second, bigger, deeper wave of this to hit. No idea if it's going to or not, but you know what? Every single day I'm preparing as if. It's an election year. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But you know what? Every single day I am focused on getting my documentation, my operations in place, developing my team. Like, oh my God, I'm investing in my team right now. securing my home front, preparing my family, like not crazy stuff, but I'm being strategic. I'm being thoughtful, and I am preparing to make sure that, I don't want to go down with this thing. So just be thinking ahead. Don't let it derail you too much. Have conversations, and, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I love that. I'm mentally preparing for a very bitter election. At the same time, my right-hand gal goes out on maternity leave. At the same time, there's a second wave of COVID. That's what I'm expecting this October, November, December. So similar to you, we're systematizing everything. Yep. We have playbooks for everything. So even if somebody that steps in that's never worked in mortgage in their life or coached in their life, they can go in and they can order an appraisal. They can pull a credit report. I can have my wife hired on in 24 hours, and she can at least pull credit reports to help us move the ball forward. I could not agree with you more that, like, while we're being positive and generative and wanting to get things rolling, you have to be planning for what could be the next major disruption. I love that. And then I cannot say, you're speaking my language with make the calls and call the clients. That's the foundation of a lot of stuff that has been instrumental in our success. And I will tell people, turn off the one-way digital media where people say things that they wouldn't say in person. Like, I've left some Facebook groups that are community Facebook groups, or I've left some text message threads because the vitriol or the negativity is stuff that I know when I call those same people, we have a super positive 30-minute, what's going well, generative conversation. Here's what I love about my wife. Here's what I love about my kids. But then you see them on Facebook or in a Telegram group or on a WhatsApp group, and it's just like constant negativity. So remove yourself from that stuff. Be more like Amber. Read your morning brew. Figure out what works for you. And what's the last thought you want to leave everybody with, Amber? I know your time's super valuable. Thank you so much for being on. I love you to death.
I'm here all in with this community. I'm actually a member of the group. I've been engaging. I've been watching who's in there and what you guys are posting about. My last thing is, honestly, I would love it if you would leave me a comment. Put a comment below right now and let me know a question that you have, or what was something that really impacted you during today's session. As somebody that does live streaming herself, Scott needs that data. And frankly, I do too, as a speaker. Like, I want to know, what did I miss out? What are you questioning right now? And where did you find the value? Like, do us a favor and get that engagement stirred up even higher. So it's really a call to action to that, because I want to continue the conversation from here. I don't want to just like bounce out and peace out,
Yeah, see, even great value in your request that, like, the end of a live stream is not the end of the conversation, it's the beginning of a conversation. We could go for hours at, like, one day we need to schedule a 4-hour like Joe Rogan
that would be fun.
Yes. Maybe the next time that there's calamity and we got nothing to do for that 2 weeks when we're in our pity party, we'll just do a 4-hour Joe Rogan podcast.
Fun. Yeah. Well, you're the best. I really appreciate this. Thank you for the opportunity.
Amber, thanks again for being on, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.